Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to do this year's surprises and this year's disappointments in one video. So I will be talking about the 5 books that disappointed me most and the 5 books that surprised me the most. So in order for it to be a disappointment, I had to have had really high standards for it. Going into it, I thought maybe it was going to be a new favorite book, that maybe I wasn't going to be able to shut up about it. But then I read it and I was very underwhelmed with most of them. Or a couple of them that I'm going to be talking about. Sorry, my list is right here. But a couple of the books I'm going to be talking about in particular, just rubbed me the wrong way. And that's perfectly, is it fine? I do want to put the disclaimer here that, if you loved these books, especially the 5 that surprised me the most, then I'm super happy for you. And, we can still be kind to each other, even if you disagree with me. That's the beauty of BookTube, is that we can all have our own opinions. And if my opinion is that The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston is overrated, for example, and that is your favorite read of the year, then I'm super happy for you. It just didn't work for me. Okay? See how that one kind of hurt a little bit? I'm sorry. But we're allowed to have differing opinions. It's okay. We can still be friends. In fact, most of the people I'm friends with in real life disagree with me all the time. And that's okay. We're allowed to have different opinions. So, I guess that first one is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is the disappointing book for me. So I think I ended up giving it 2.5 stars or rounding it to 3 stars. I'm not entirely sure. It was fine. It was just very underwhelming for me. I didn't understand, maybe I still don't understand the hype. I don't get it. I haven't liked any of Ashley Poston's books. Her young adult, Geekerilla, that one was okay. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was my favorite that I've read by this author, but I'm just starting to think that Ashley Poston and I are not meant to be, reader and writer, we're not supposed to mesh. And you know what? That's okay. That is perfectly fine. This one might hurt some of y'all too. So I apologize again. I guess we're doing disappointments and we're going to end on surprises. So, By Any Other Name by Lauren Kate. This was a very short book. It's a very quick read. It's 250 pages. Here's the thing. I really, really loved, she's the publicist and he is the author, but he's been hidden. He hasn't, he doesn't want to show his face until he has to for this book. that he wrote. And I loved, like, the fake research dates that they went on for their work. But I didn't particularly love them as a couple. It just felt very rushed, and it felt very, like, it just felt like too much, but also not enough. It didn't feel like there was any chemistry there, and so I was just very underwhelmed with the lack of romance in this romance book, I guess. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I just wanted more. Please don't cancel me. Please don't unsubscribe. I still gave this like a 3-star book, so it's fine. But I read Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, and this, like, my expectations for this was just like sky high, because I've heard so many people, so many booktubers praise this book. They're like, oh my gosh, best romance book in the world. It's so good. It's gonna make you cry. I didn't cry. And I think that's the problem. Like, part 1 of this felt, well, it was like, okay, this guy, Matt sees Grace in the subway, but the doors close and she's in the subway and he's outside the subway, and she's like banging on the window, Matt! And then she takes off because, you know, subways move. And then it takes you to college when Matt and Grace are dating, and it felt like a very childish, in the moment romance. So it was like, it was fine, but I didn't really see them lasting very long. And then I kind of knew that something had happened because, you know, they see each other 20 years later, and yeah, you know. Then the second half of the book almost redeemed it for me. But I just felt like this was missing something. It was just like fine. It was just fine. And that's why I gave it 3 stars. I don't think I'll ever really think about this romance ever again, though. And, like, I don't know. I think it was more like woman's fiction, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. It was just kind of boring. It was just lacking in flavor. Ooh, I'm so sorry. I can't wait till we get to the most surprising. Both of these books that I'm about to talk about are tied for most disappointing. I can't just pick one of them. You know what? I can just pick one. So, number 2 is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Good Girl Complex by L. Kennedy. So, I can't talk about what's wrong with this book without spoiling it. If you want to know why I actively hated this book, why I think Elle Kennedy and I don't think she's the writer for me anymore, then leave a comment down below and I'll reply to your comment. That way, you have to actually go into the thread to see the spoilers. Let's just say, how do I put this delicately? The romance was not for me. The writers have a tendency to do two things with romances that really just irk me. And this has one of those things. Like I said, if you want to know which one, let me know in the comments below. But they always have someone cheating. Or they always have a miscommunication trope. Or both. But the fact that our girl, main character, is willing to do the things that she does, and then has the audacity to get mad when it happens to her. Like, such double standards. And honestly, I hated this one on the same level that I hated Jay's gay agenda. Yeah, on the same level for the same reason. So if you know, you know. If you don't know and you want to, let me know in the comments below and I'll reply. And my first, most disappointing book of the year is the one by Sarah Pekkanen, Gone Tonight, by Sarah Pekkanen. So I gave this one 2 stars. Sometimes I think I should give it 1. See, here's the problem with Gone Tonight. I loved part 1. But then at the end of part 1, there is this reveal that makes me feel betrayed and lied to, and I hate it when authors write about something that they don't know about and then use it as an excuse or a lie that happened in the book. That just really makes me mad, to be honest with you. Again, if you want to know what that is, let me know in the comments below, and I will ruin Gone Tonight for you. But don't waste your time. Please don't. Okay, let's go to my most surprising books. So I've got romance and thrillers. Surprise, surprise. My first, well, let's see if they're in the right order. No. Okay. My number 5 book for most surprising is He Started It by Samantha Downing. I read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, and honestly, I hated that book. I hated that book a couple years ago when I read it. So I was under the impression that I wouldn't like anything by Samantha Downing, but this pleasantly surprised me. I absolutely loved this. So this was like an epic road trip from hell, and it was perfect because I've been to a lot of the places with my husband, and yeah, it was like reliving our road trips. But, I didn't have a stalker after me or a murderer with me, I don't think. And this one was so much fun. I had so much fun. It was 5 stars. The next one is another thriller. This is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I've only read one other Peter Swanson book, but I didn't love it, so I was under the impression I wasn't going to read from him anymore. But then the sequel to this came out, so I decided I would try and read this. And I'm so happy that I did. I also have the sequel on my shelves. But you follow Ted and Lily, who meet at this airport, and they come up with this deal that, like, he wants his wife dead, so she's gonna help him out. And that's all you need to know. It's a lot more twisted and a lot more sinister than that, but it was so much fun too. Plus, you follow a murderer. I'm not going to tell you which one, but one of them is. And then my last thriller on this list is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. Again, I had read My Lovely Wife, wasn't really interested, but then I tried Dark Academia by Samantha Downing. This follows Teddy Crutcher, who is a high school professor, a college professor. Oh wait, he's been teacher of the year at this high school. And he's also a murderer. This was 4 stars, and it was, again, a lot of fun. You get to follow another murderer. And then this one came out of complete left field for me. This is The Accidental Beauty Queen by Terry Wilson. I did this reading vlog earlier this year where I read, like, princess books. It was Tiara Day, so we were reading Tiara books. And I found this book on Libby on the audiobook app. And I was listening to it on audiobook, and I just fell in love with it because in this you follow these 2 sisters, Charlotte and her sister Jeannie, who is her twin. Jeannie is obsessed with, like, fashion, and she's in this contestants in this beauty pageant. And her sister Charlotte is, like, the nerd. She's a librarian, and she doesn't care about the, like, fashion side of it. But then Jeannie gets injured and she can't compete. So because they're twins, Charlotte goes in for her. It reminded me a lot of Kira Sedgwick. No, not Kira. What's that movie with Sandra Bullock in the beauty pageant, and she's an FBI agent? This movie. I'll put a picture of it. Why can't I remember? But it gives me those vibes, and it even references that movie a lot. How come? Miss Congeniality! Oh my gosh, Miss Congeniality. This gives me such Miss Congeniality vibes. And then the last one, this one is the most surprising. I gave this book 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it. That was Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. So this is a romance. And I read The Wedding Date and a couple of the books in that series when I was first getting into romance novels, and I really loved it. But then I tried to reread those either in 2022 or 2023, I'm not sure. And they fell flat for me. I think it's because I've read a lot of romance novels now. So going into this, I wasn't entirely sure if I would love it. But you follow Margaret and Luke. So, I don't remember her brother's name. But Margaret's brother and Margaret own this winery together. But she was out of town on business. And he hired Luke. Unbeknownst to Margaret. So, on Luke's first night in town, he goes to the bar. And on Margaret's night back, before she has to go back to work, she also ends up at that bar and they're drinking, and they one thing leads to another and they hook up. But then when they get to work the next day, things are very interesting, and it's like this forbidden love story because, you know, she's the boss. He's her employee. There's a little bit of an age gap in here, and it was just a really sweet romance, and I very much so enjoyed it. So those are the most disappointing books that I read in 2023, and the most surprising books that I read in 2023. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here.